Hello, this is part 2 of dehydrating and powdering spinach. So yesterday we put the spinach onto the trays, put them in the dehydrator and set it for about 4 hours. It actually ended up only taking 3.5 hours. Didn't have my camera helper with me, so I couldn't show you what it looked like when it immediately came out. But this is all of that spinach that we dehydrated. So what I did is I took it off the trays. It just powdery thin. You might can see from this, a little bit crunchy. Just it basically is just like really thin paper. So I kind of mashed it down. I think I just sent some flying. Kind of mashed it down into my container, left it overnight until I had time to dehydrate it, so that kept it from getting the moisture into it. So anyway, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you what I use to powder. This is a coffee grinder. I think this one is the Hamilton Beach. Came from Walmart. Again, I'm just showing you the products that I use. I don't make anything off of these. So it's a little coffee grinder. This is the top of it. You can set it for either coarse, medium, or fine. Because I'm wanting to powder, I set it on fine. So we're going to do that step first. I've got some parchment paper laid down here on my cabinet just to catch whatever spills out. I'm going to try to be a little neater since you guys are watching. So I'm just going to fill this up with the spinach. It's already crushed some. If you like to have the actual leaves where you can see them, then you can skip the powdering step and go on to the next one in a minute. I've already powdered a little bit of it so I can be able to show it to you more easily. I'm going to put lug it in first. Okay, I'm going to put the top on. I'm going to press the button. So zoom in just a little bit. You can see that it's swirling around in there. It doesn't take very long, especially since we kind of crushed it up a little bit. On and off button, stop it. I want to keep your head back on this because it is a powder. Some of it's gonna float up in the air, and you can probably see it. I made the mistake one time of leaning down and got a nose full of spinach powder. It made me sneeze for a few minutes. So this is a jar that already has some powdered spinach in it. You might can see how fine that is. Twist, take that out, just kind of tap it down just so it's a little easier to pour in. Okay, that part's done. Other thing I use for storing these are moisture absorbing packets. 100 packets that I got from Amazon. I'm going to add one into the jar. They are food grade, so you don't have to worry about that. And then I have my lid for the spinach powder. So I'm just going to hand wipe the top just because it is kind of powdery. The next thing is a mason jar vacuum sealer. And what this does is it's going to suck the air out of the jar. It's going to help things stay fresher longer. It's also going to keep them from clumping up. If you do notice that your dehydrated products are getting a little moist, you can lay them on not a metal tray, but on the plastic trays like I showed you that I put in the bottom, and dehydrate them for a little bit. Get that moisture out. So you just put the lid on, not the ring. This works for both wide mouth and for the regular lids. So I'm going to press it down. The cord that's hanging is just for recharging it. And I'll leave it on there just so I don't lose it. I'm going to press on. You can see it's counting up. I leave it for about 60 seconds. It's recommended that it be at least 40 seconds to get the air out, but longer is better. So again, I leave it for 60 seconds. So to recap, coffee grinder, I have a small food processor and I found that it just didn't grind things up as to the finer powder that I wanted. So this was under $20. You can get one Walmart, Amazon, any place that you see. You may already have one. I don't grind coffee beans. Even if I did, I would have a separate one for my vegetables. In a few minutes, I'm also going to grind up some cabbage that I dehydrated. So I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, we're at 53 seconds, 54, 55. Once I hit 60, press the off button, it stops it. Gently work that off. And you can see I'm pulling on the lid. It's sealed. It's gotten all of the air out of there. I go on and put the rings on just because I'm moving them around so much, but you don't have to. And you'll actually be more aware of it if the lid, the seal comes loose. Just vacuum seal it again. Each time you use some, just vacuum seal again. And that keeps your spinach. Look how nice and powdery that is. This is a lot of spinach. This is actually more than 2 of those containers. So when you're adding it to your food, just be aware of that. Don't like glob, don't put a whole bunch in. Start with maybe a teaspoon or half a tablespoon. And that's usually like half a tablespoon is usually what I use for a big pot of soup. Adds a lot of flavor to it. Okay, I'm not even going to clean this out this time because I don't mind my cabbage having a little bit of spinach flavor in it. This was some cabbage that was left over from making dumplings for Chinese New Year. So you put this in. This is a little more coarse to begin with, so it may take a little bit longer to grind it up. Sorry, I have to lean over there. Okay. We're just gonna watch it. Let's check it and see what it looks like. It may need a little bit more. Watch out for the powder. Okay, you can tell it's not quite as fine as the spinach was, so I'm gonna give it a few more seconds. And for today, I just have a little small jar. This is a little jelly jar that I'm gonna pour it into. Do the same thing, I have a lid. You may notice on the spinach powder, I went on to put a label on the top. That way if I have somebody else in my kitchen and I say, please go get the spinach powder, they'll know which one it is. Okay, that's ground up. Pour it in. Okay, that's the cabbage powder. So, started out like this, went in the dehydrator. It takes longer than spinach does because it's coarser, it's thicker. Grind it up. We're gonna put our lid on. Put a packet in it. The smaller jars don't necessarily need the packet. Just depends on how much you're gonna use them. Make sure that's set all the way down on it. I'm going to stop this one after about 40 seconds because it's a much smaller jar. Some other things. I've also dehydrated mushrooms. I'll powder these as well. They're great for mushroom gravy. I may leave, I've got two packages of them that I've dehydrated, so I'll probably leave some in the slices, dehydrated slices. See what else I've got over here. Got some squash that was left over. Couldn't use it all at the time, so dehydrated it, and it's just waiting to be powdered. So again, it's great for leftover vegetables, things that maybe otherwise you would not have time to use and might go bad. This is sealed. I'll put a ring on it, put a label on it. I've also got cabbage powder. So as I mentioned in the first video, this is a great way to add vegetables, add nutrients, nutritional value to any of, think spaghetti sauce, soups. Just use your imagination. With the cabbage or zucchini that I've powdered, when I'm making zucchini bread, I can add some extra to that. It gives it a little bit more flavor. So anyway, hope you enjoyed watching. Be sure and like my video and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.